Hello, welcome to episode 65 of the Epic Film Challenge 2, 1,001 movies you must see before you die. 1958's Touch of Evil, starring Orson Welles, directed by Orson Welles, written by Orson Welles. It's an Orson Welles powerhouse. I'd seen about 30 minutes of this film years ago when it first came out on Blu-ray, never finished it. Now I got the chance to sit down and watch the film in its full form, and to begin with, I didn't know where the hell to start. I have the Blu-ray up here, the amazing massive cinema release, and I'm like, okay, cool, Touch of Evil, let's finally get this film done. And I forgot that the Blu-ray has 5 different versions of the film. It has the original 1958 theatrical release, it has the 1957 preview version, and it has the 1998 reconstructed version, and both the reconstructed version and the theatrical version are available in 2 different aspect ratios, so it's either the square frame or the widescreen, you know, the 137:1 or the 185:1, and I just didn't know what to do. Now apparently they shot this film with widescreen and square frame in mind. You know, television in the 50s was coming through, and so they kind of, I guess, had both in mind, but there's no definitive answer on which version Orson Welles preferred, which one he wanted to be the official version, or which version he kind of framed the film in. You know, how do you really? But then again, apparently the widescreen is actually just cutting off the top and bottom and just going in, you know, and kind of, I don't know. There's information about it in the booklet, but it still wasn't clear to me, so I didn't know what to do. So I ended up going for the square frame 137:1. Because I do really like that frame of image a lot of times, especially with these films that are considered classics. And there's something about the way that it is limiting almost. I mean, they started with that frame, you know, from the start of films pretty much. I mean, it's always changed and the aspect ratios always differ and vary, but I just feel like there's more creativity going on when you're limited by that. When you've got widescreen, you can put so much on the screen and things like that, and it opens you up somewhat. So I thought I would check it out like that, and the mindset I had was going into it a second time, which I definitely will be, by the way, not to jump ahead, but the next time I watch it, I can watch it in widescreen, see if I enjoy it any better, see if it opens things up to me. I don't know, but people have said that it's more claustrophobic that way. I really don't know what the best answer is, and there is no definitive answer, so that's the way I watched it anyway. And I watched the 1998 reconstructed version, and again, Orson Welles just did not seem to have the best luck with studios. Apparently, when the film was made and he delivered a rough cut to Universal, they went, "We're not too happy with that. We're going to reshoot some stuff ourselves. We're going to finish editing, you know, with our staff." And so once again, Orson Welles did not get final cut on the film, and so the theatrical version isn't really his version, and there is no director's cut of this. So in 1998, they made a reconstructed version, and it was kind of put together and edited with his memo in mind, because when Orson Welles saw, I guess, the cut that they presented him with when the film was about to be released, he wrote a 58-page memo, an impassioned memo, telling him exactly how he wanted the film to be. And so that's kind of the blueprint for how this reconstructed version came out. Now, I think his daughter or his granddaughter, something like that, part of his family and estate, was not very happy with this 1998 reconstructed version, and she kind of, I guess, started taking action towards him. Then she saw the film and she said, well, that's it, I just wanted to know what was going on. No one told me that they were doing this, and that's the film he wanted, you know, and they did a great job with it, and it's great. So that's the one I went with, the 1998 reconstructed version. And haven't even got to the film yet. It stars Charlton Heston, Janet Leigh, Orson Welles himself. 3 great actors. You know, Janet Leigh was in Psycho, and I think she's great in this film. She shows a lot of fire early on in one of the early scenes of the film, which I really liked. But the film itself is set around the US-Mexico border, this small border town. It does open up a little bit from there, but it really stays mostly in this small border town. And you have Charlton Heston, who plays a Mexican kind of cop, you know, and he's kind of very much a higher up in the Mexican police department. And then at the beginning of the film, he's taking his wife Janet Leigh across the border. They're going to have like a nice trip together, I guess. And this car blows up, and this big investigation goes into this car that's blown up. Charlton Heston gets dragged into it. His character Vargas. And kind of, you know, it's not really his jurisdiction, but he's still kind of, you know, taking an interest in it and things like that. And this cop shows up, Hank Quinlan, who's played by Orson Welles. who at this point is almost unrecognizable from, you know, his days in films like Citizen Kane. I mean, he is ballooned in weight, he's massive, and, you know, it's hard to look at him and see Orson Welles, you know, behind all that flesh. He really let himself go, and that works into the film and his character as well, which I really liked. And while the film is mainly about Quinlan, Orson Welles, and Vargas, Charlton Heston, and kind of those two main characters, I think Janet Leigh does very well as Charlton Heston's wife. There's a scene at the beginning where she gets taken with these Mexicans, and they're trying to intimidate her and stuff, and she really just gets in their face a little bit and just takes no shit, you know. And she admits that she's scared, but she's kind of hard as nails, and I really liked her tough, kind of fiery performance in that early moment of the film. Later on, she takes somewhat of a backseat, but her character is still integral to the plot. And I love the plot. I love the way that it unfolded. I love all the little elements that go along with every just beat of it. You know, every time a new scene was happening, I felt like I was getting more information. I was getting more about these characters and seeing more about their motivations and where the story was going, and oh, that's going to set up this, and oh, that explains that. It just really moved along so well, and it is shot amazingly. Like, I love the way this film looks, and everyone talks about the opening shot. The opening shot of this film is, I think, 4 minutes long, and it is unbelievable. You know, to the point of you know, where me saying that the opening shot is unbelievable is almost a cliche now because everyone talks about it. But it's worth repeating. It's an amazing, phenomenal opening shot which just pans over this building to here, to there, and then it follows them walking down this street for minutes and minutes and minutes. It's an amazing opening shot that sets the film off with a great feeling of a dynamic camera movement. It just feels like the film you're about to see is going to look really cool and interesting, I think, anyway. And that brought me to an interesting idea. I was thinking about it while I was watching the film. I was thinking, and this is kind of off the topic of the film, but just in general, when I watch a film, I take note of the way the camera moves, the way things are done, the editing, everything. And I just think, like, does this matter to people who, like your nan on a Saturday afternoon watching this film? She is not going to comment on the cinematography. She's only going to comment on the story and the acting, you know? And I found that interesting. Like, you know, am I kind of robbing myself of enjoyment by focusing too much on the technical aspects of certain films? I don't know. Maybe I get more out of it that way. I really don't know, but I was just noticing a lot of the shots and where the camera was placed, and just the angles. Like when Orson Welles' character, Hank Quinlan, first turns up, like the angle is so low. Look, he's towering up in the frame, and he's so fat as well, and he's just like bulging, and just he has such this imposing nature to him, and it's also to do with the way that he stands, the way he holds himself, and the way he performs this character. It's an amazing performance from Orson Welles. Unrecognizable, but still that the performance is so strong. And I guess I'm kind of being quite vague about the plot, but I think that's probably the best way to go into this film. All you need to know is that a bomb is planted in a car at the very beginning. The car blows up, someone important is killed, and it's all about finding out who did it, and also whether the right course of justice is pursued, and Charlton Heston is very much making sure that that's the case, and there's lots of cloak and daggers kind of stuff. Orson Welles is just the absolute highlight. His performance was just incredible. He is one of the main characters. I mean, he's on the front of the cover, rightfully so. Charlton Heston was great. I really like him as an actor. He's great in films like Ben-Hur and Ten Commandments, Planet of the Apes, and this one is no different. I enjoy him more in those other films, but this one I thought he was really solid. And all the supporting cast were great as well, particularly Hank Quinlan's kind of partner, Menzie, the other cop. I thought he was great, and I loved where his character went throughout the film. And just the film noir kind of sensibility of it, you know, the lighting, that it's in black and white, it looks gorgeous. And when I say gorgeous, you know, obviously it doesn't look like a, you know, like a picturesque field or anything, but to me, I just love that kind of film noir lighting, the kind of the sharp shadows and the, you know, just the moody kind of atmosphere. There's a scene where they go to this woman's house, and there's just bits of paper rolling, flying through the air and stuff, you know. I mean, like, you know, it's just this kind of run-down neighborhood feel to it, you know, and it just, the atmosphere and mood captured in many of the scenes in this, I think, is just brilliant. There's different locations, and they each have their own kind of unique feel to them, and I was just thinking when I was watching it, this is such a great production, you know, everyone who worked on this, just all the little details, and I would really love to know more about the film, the making of it. There's like 4 commentaries on the Blu-ray. There's one, I think, by the guy who kind of oversaw the edit of the reconstructed version, so I'd like to hear from him what he thought about going into that. And, you know, now I want to see the theatrical version, the preview version, and I don't see myself doing that anytime soon because I've got more films to go through, you know, but in the future, I mean, this is just a phenomenal Blu-ray to have. It really, really is. I think that the American release has all the different cuts as well. No, actually, I think the Massive Cinema were the only people who actually gave you the option of watching the reconstructed and the theatrical in 1:37:1 with the square frame. But please give me your opinion. If you have the Blu-ray, what is your preferred version of the film? If you've watched any of the different ones, if the widescreen is better than the full screen, all that kind of stuff, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And outside of the technical things as well, what you think about the film in general, because I absolutely loved it. I loved the story. I loved, you know, the way it looked, the performances. There were moments in the film where I just was like, wow, they're really going there. Like it got dark in a few places, and the ending I thought was just phenomenal. An amazing piece of cinema. You know, I hate to use that wanky term, but the last like 10-15 minutes of the film, I just loved it. Oh, amazing. Brilliant, brilliant film. Is it a film you must see before you die? Absolutely, 110% yes. It's an amazing piece of film noir. It's an amazing piece of film in general. I just, I loved everything about this. Orson Welles, he's the man. I just love his films so much. And I just wish that there hadn't been these stories where he runs into problem with the studios. The Magnificent Ambersons, we talked about it before, it was almost a masterpiece, but you know, he got taken, all the freedom of his creativity was robbed from him on the end result of that film. And the same seems to go with Touch of Evil. They took the cut away from him, that other people, they reshot stuff, you know, and or added stuff, I really don't know, you know, and again, there's documentaries on the Blu-ray, I need to check them out, but you know, leave your thoughts on that if you know anything about the cuts and all the additions and things. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on that. If they just have info they can present to me in a simple way, because I was really trying to do some background info before I watched the film, and it was just, there's just so much out there. It's hard to briefly kind of school yourself on all the different versions and things like that, and all the little intricacies of the production of the film, but I'm sure the Blu-ray offers a lot of insight, but I just don't have the time right now. So I'm looking forward to that in the future, but for now we roll on and I watch the next film for the next video and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that is it for now. Touch of Evil. Let me know your thoughts down below. Really eager to hear people's thoughts on this one, and I'll see you in the next video.